What a great episode to end the season. Flash season finale has tried to answer many of the questions that came to our minds over the course of the season. However, following the final episode, there are many new questions arise, and I'll try to explain as many as possible in this series finale review. So careful for the spoiler if you haven't watched the episode yet. The episode didn't take any moment to waste the time to explain the death of Iris as appeared in the last minute of the last episode, or in the future vision of Barry in many previous episodes. They instantly answered who died in place of Iris and how that came to be. It was such a good way to explain the switch between Iris and HR, which many people already predicted for a long time. So congratulations to all of you for guessing it right. But it was quite pleasing to see that HR forced the switch all by himself and didn't give anyone any chance to collaborate. So what happens if Savitar kills Iris later in the episode? When HR reveals himself to Barry to make Barry know that Iris is alive and it is in fact HR who took the claw and now seconds away from his death, instantly the question switched to what if Savitar comes back now and kills Iris? It didn't take long for us to know that if Iris wasn't killed at that very place at that exact time, it will jeopardize Savitar's creation, and it creates a paradox which will restrict Savitar to go back in time to kill Iris to create himself, and that paradox will erase Savitar from existence. But wait, why there was no singularity like the last episode of the first season? This is basically didn't happen, considering who died in those two moments. In Season 1, when Eddie died, many generations of subsequent Thorns died along with him. All of those Thorns were important figures. As you were Thorn, the Reverse Flash confirms that, and it also messes up with the existence of Reverse Flash, who come to live through the progression of natural timeline as opposed to Savitar, who was merely an aberration due to Flashpoint, and it is probably safe to say, in the grand scheme of things, the life of HR didn't matter to cause singularity as it did in the case of Eddie. On to next. Why did Savitar stop Caitlin from killing or destroying Vive's hands? It could be because the timeline changed. For example, Speed Force Bazooka was created long before it was supposed to be created, and few other changes already happened in the timeline. So the future has already changed for each character, and it resulted in Vive not losing his hands. Savitar nearly pulls off a Clara and Aya. The plan B of Savitar was to create a fragment of him throughout the creation of time, from the beginning to the end of it, and leave a print of himself to every moment of time. This is in fact such an iconic moment of an episode of Doctor Who, when Clara sacrifices herself to create echoes of her throughout the history of time to save Doctor, so that he can go on to save all the people he saves in his lifetime. But Savitar's intention was different to that of Clara, and it was slightly similar to the Aya from the Green Lantern, the animated series, where she wanted to rewrite the entire history because she was rejected by her loved ones, as did Savitar in the series of Flash. Why not Barry and the team helps the Savitar in the Star Labs? So this is the moment Barry gets to be the Barry we knew for the past couple of seasons, and as Snart said, the goodness of you is what defines you, and again, like many fans, asked why the team would shun the Time Remnant. The clips that followed started to answer these questions, that maybe the Remnant was so bad in its methods that the team disapproved his methods, and also the point made by many why Barry and Iris didn't show love to him. The answer is they did, but there was room for only one Barry, and as the Remnant start asking questions, how he can be at the wedding, both Barry and Iris failed to answer him the right questions. So Savitar Barry knew that it has to be either him or the Barry who can live. So did Savitar Barry consider becoming good? Yes, sure he did. But again, he failed to find a space for him, and all this pain of being disposable brought him back to his plan B. Is Black Flash permanently eliminated? No, not a chance. Probably this version is, and I hope so, that this is the case, because the face of this Black Flash is disgusting. It would be good if they replace the Black Flash face with something similar to the comic book one. that looks much better than what we have seen in this Black Flash. How did Jay Garrick came out of Speed Force prison? So, Cisco explains he modified the Speed Force bazooka to send skeleton imprint of Savitar instead of the whole of Savitar. This did two things. One, it stopped the grand plan of Savitar, and second, it created a window of opportunity for Jay to escape the prison. Think of it as like using finger scanner with the imprint of the finger on a slide that opens a lock that can be used to unlock a door without having the person whose finger can actually open the lock. Savitar's skeleton imprint did exactly the same thing and deceived the Speed Force into thinking there was another speedster in the prison, so Jay Garrick was allowed to escape if he wanted to, which he duly did. Why did Cisco left Caitlin with a choice instead of curing her? It is one of the strongest moments in the episode where Cisco didn't force Caitlin to what he wanted, rather let her decide what did she want to do. Caitlin has worked on the dark path for weeks and went so far that if a cure was forced into her, she might not take it graciously, and to avoid any such possibility were Caitlin blaming Cisco or Julian for the rest of her life, Cisco let her to decide what she wanted. This pays off a moment later when she saves him from Savitar. Caitlin's identity. Caitlin has drifted away so much from what she was that she does not have the courage to go back to everyone and pretend that she is the same Caitlin that the rest of the team Flash wishes her to be, and at the same time she is not a Killer Frost anymore, as she was brought back to her senses enough by Cisco, Barry and Julian that she now can decide whether she wants to stop being Killer Frost. So she is left with soul searching for herself. Barry travels into the Speed Force. This is something he had to do to stop Speed Force from releasing energy as it lost its prisoner and to pay for initiating the Flashpoint in the first place. But why either Kid Flash or Jay Garrick didn't volunteer to the cause? There is an obvious reason to it. They already spent time in it and it is like a hell, so naturally they were not ready to go back into it again. Besides, the Speed Force also made sure that it was Barry who makes the move by sending a conscious that looks like his mother. Will Barry suffer in the Speed Force? No, but he needs to go into it for a specific time as long as it is still there. But as the timeline already changed, the prison will most likely cease to exist and Barry has to spend his time in some different capacity to learn his Flashpoint lessons. This will last until the first or second episode of next season, and Kid Flash will look after the Central City as long as Barry doesn't make his return. So I think it was a great episode where so many things happened, so many characters were in it, and all of them had a role to play. Iris ended up killing Savitar. In a way, she took her revenge for being threatened throughout the seasons by Savitar that she will get killed by him. But I think there will be some sort of consequence for her and it will change the Iris character in a certain way, because Savitar or not, she ended up killing a version of Barry. Caitlin tried to kill Cisco before ending up saving him. Gypsy saving Cisco, so she had her big moments. Caitlin killed Black Flash. Oh my god. So she eliminated Hunter Zolomon. Star Labs got destroyed. And Savitar teases that they will be using a facility in Star Lab to defeat Devoke. Cisco had his funny moments where he got the chance to call Savitar as the Two-Face, as we all thought of the same case as soon as we saw one side of his scarred face in a couple of episodes ago. There was a great moment between Barry and Joe when Joe, realizing it was Barry all along who needed a saving and not Iris, and the chemistry between the two actors, Grant Gustin and Jesse L. Martin, when they play father and son, is just remarkable. It feels like real. And it is always nice to see. I think the actors who stood out in this episode was Tom Cavanagh when he was playing HR, and also when he was playing Harry, along with Jesse L. Martin playing Joe, and all the actors, I thought, stepped up their emotional acting to bring all into it to make it a really, really good episode. So all in all, it was a really enjoyable episode, and I hope you enjoyed it because I enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope I was able to answer some of the burning questions that you may have after watching the final episode, and I tried to explain as many as possible. If you have more questions, you can ask them in the comments below, and I'll try to gather them together to make another video to answer all the questions that you might have. And if you liked all the answers or the analysis or the review that I provided in this video, you may or may not leave a like. I know many people doesn't like when somebody says please leave a like, so I'm not going to say that. But I'll make many other videos, as I'm planning to make few more videos on the season 3 of Flash and season 5 of Arrow. So if you want to watch those videos, please make sure you subscribe, or if you don't want to subscribe, you can come back and check what new videos I've posted. Until then, I'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for me, and goodbye until I see you next time. Bye.